Welcome, dear readers. Trust that all is proceeding according to plan, even if the outer scene does not seem to reflect that at this time. As the ascension process brings increasingly more high-resonating energy to Earth, it affects everyone because everyone is a spiritual being. As individuals spiritually awaken, their minds and hearts automatically begin opening to new levels of awareness. Many are starting to question laws, rules, authority figures, ideas, and common beliefs, etc., that they previously accepted as being right, proper, and even spiritual. The passing of England's monarch will open the way for new energies and ways of thinking regarding monarchies. Many are beginning to realize that the concept of a monarchy in any country is obsolete old energy. As increasingly more individuals evolve and begin to embrace the truth of their personal power, the need for monarchies, dictatorships, and positions of power over will no longer exist. However, the collective must stop supporting these things in order for them to dissolve into the nothingness of the past. Monarchies arose out of a very old belief system. Uneducated and simple people in the past were ripe pickings for those who loved power. Because they were unaware of their own innate spirituality, the majority believed what they were told, that they needed someone stronger, better, or holier to make rules and tell them what to do. Into this void stepped the church and monarchies, often working in tandem. As church leaders discovered the ego and financial gratifications of having power over others, churches and monarchies became increasingly more power-hungry and warlike. Rather than guiding people for their own good as they proclaimed, they often cruelly dominated the people through made-up rules and regulations that served only themselves in the name of God. Still today, many leaders in so-called democratic countries enjoy having the sense of power over others, being in charge, and making rules for those who elected them in the first place. It is time for all that to change, because the new and higher energies of light will not support ideas of separation. However, since consciousness is the substance of form, the majority consciousness must cease feeding energy to these obsolete concepts if new and higher ways are to manifest. Love, which is nothing more than the reality of one God expressing itself in, as, and through infinite form and variety, is the key that can and will unlock personal and global freedoms, but love must be consciously realized. Duality and separation beliefs have resulted in a plethora of false concepts about love, leaving much of the world confused and suffering the consequences of these false beliefs. Once God is realized to be omnipresence, omnipotence, and omniscience, individualized and fully present within every individual, previously embraced rules, rites, rituals, prayers that in reality are prayers, begging, pleading, and bowing down to some concept in the sky becomes obsolete. These are the beliefs that are now being questioned, thought about, and examined by increasingly more individuals simply because they are discovering that these concepts no longer resonate as truth. Chaos is breaking apart many of the old physical, emotional, and mental structures that have been long held in place through a universal belief in them. As familiar structures begin to crumble personally and globally, it brings tremendous fear and resistance to those who rely upon them as their foundational belief system. Change is coming. Be prepared for new and high-resonating energies to penetrate every aspect of the world. It is already happening. Hold to your center, your divinity, remembering that the only reality is God, which is closer to you than breathing. We have said these things before, but they need repeating because so many have gotten lost in the gloom of daily news and world activities. Remember, when you get caught up in the three-dimensional scene, you perpetuate it because consciousness is the substance of form. Consciousness is the doorway to all manifestation, good or bad, because consciousness expresses as form. Divine consciousness is the only consciousness, but that which I hold as truth and reality in my personal consciousness, which is the one divine consciousness individualized, I automatically create. The intellectual knowledge of truth cannot manifest outwardly, which often causes confusion for serious truth students who believe that because they are not demonstrating their truth knowledge that they have failed. Intellectual knowledge is only the first step. Truth must become a realized state of consciousness before it can manifest outwardly, because consciousness is the creative substance. Example, you would not even consider going into a store and stealing because you have a consciousness of honesty. However, there are those that intellectually know stealing is wrong, but are unable to resist the temptation because honesty has not yet become their state of consciousness. Examine what you still hold as truth or reality in your consciousness. When problems arise, ask yourself, what am I believing that is manifesting in this way, or making me feel this way, and begin to change your beliefs about it. Consciousness is not intellectual knowledge. Consciousness is the essence of your evolutionary status, that which you are, your being, your life. As you evolve and move more deeply into truth, your consciousness, which is the one divine consciousness individualized, is able to more fully express itself. You can never get wisdom, knowledge, peace, harmony, etc., because these qualities are already fully present within your consciousness. Evolution is about getting out of the way once the imprisoned splendor may escape. Paracelsus, Robert Browning. Clearing is the process of removing the layers of falsehood from one's consciousness that have been formed over time through many lifetimes lived in third-dimensional energy. Every person has different types of layers, some thick, some thin, and some glued tightly. The process of removing these layers can be, and often is, very painful because individuals become accustomed to and comfortable with their creations. An intensified clearing process is taking place at this time. Allow all your pretty bubbles to burst, dear ones, and you will discover that a whole new world exists outside of them. We are the Arcturian group.